Algorithm. This is episode 7. I am your host, Aiden Alger. I got my co-host here with me, Andrew Duran. We got two special guests, Rhett Clark and Brevin McCool. We'll start with you, Brevin, if you want to give us a little background about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Brevin McCool. I'm 21 from Hobbs, New Mexico. I'm a junior here at LCU. Infield guy, mostly third base. Play a little outfield too. Swing a bat. Play golf. All the things. So that's me.
Pretty smart, too. Rhett, a little background about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Rhett. Grew up in Midland, Texas. Born and raised. Went to Midland JUCO and transferred here this year. And as of now, I have been DHing, which has been an interesting change, but so far so good.
Brev, so you're obviously pretty smart. What's your major?
Biology.
So what are you trying to do?
I'm pre-med, so planning to go to med school. So I'm kind of in the process right now of getting stuff together for that. I took my MCAT medical school admission test not too long ago. And so I'll start applying in May to get in fall of 25.
When do you get those results in?
I got them a couple weeks ago and went really well. About as good as I
That's
could
awesome.
hope for. And so I think I'm pretty set on that side of things for applying and all that.
That's awesome. So you've been at LCU for, this is your
3 years.
third year.
Yes. This is
You start, dude. You could come on in, Shoal. Come on in, bro. You can come in. You can say hi to the camera.
Yo.
So you've been here for 3 years. How's your experience been at LCU?
It's been good. I honestly kind of came to LCU. It was kind of a last resort, kind of an option I always had to fall back on. And the longer I've been here, the more I realize that I've really enjoyed it and I've benefited a lot from the academics and then the athletic side of things as well. It's been a really good experience. I think I've had better teammates and just better people I've been around here than I would have honestly anywhere else. And so I think it's been a blessing in disguise. It was kind of at the time I didn't really know what I was getting into, but the longer I've been here, I'm super grateful to
Awesome.
been able to come here.
What kind of options were you looking at before LCU?
I graduated in 21. Rhett can attest to this, but we had the COVID deal kind of going on right during our recruiting, and so that kind of messed me up pretty bad. And it got to the point I had talked to several schools, but I got a few calls from schools saying we can't take you. We got too many guys coming back, or we're banking on this guy getting drafted, and if he doesn't get drafted in the 5 rounds this year, we can't take you. A lot of schools I never heard back from them during that process, and so the last 2 that I actually had a spot on the team was University of Iowa and then LCU, and so it was just kind of between them, and ended up choosing LCU, and I'm very grateful that I did.
Okay, that's awesome. When you were in high school, you got the Gatorade player? What was it called?
I didn't get Gatorade. I got like the Coaches Association.
Coaches Association
in high school. So I think I shared that one with Duran knows him. It was me and Jacob Kamatz. He's currently a starting pitcher at Oregon State. Me and him were co-player of the year that year. He was pitcher and then DH, and then I was hitter, third baseman, and we split the honor that year. We were like co-players of the year.
That dude's at Oregon State right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They're
pretty good this
He
year.
was their Saturday guy.
Saturday starter.
That's
been for third year.
He might have moved up to Friday because Aiden
maybe.
kind of got hurt a little bit. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You both are from New Mexico, so did you guys ever cross paths in high school?
We played in tournaments a couple times. I think we didn't go up there a whole lot because he's from Rio Rancho, so we.
I think we played once in that tournament.
Yeah.
At Rio, I
At
think.
y'all's place, I
Yeah.
think. But we didn't cross paths a whole lot just because Albuquerque, Rio Rancho is like 5 hours from where I grew up, and so we mostly stayed in the south until it came time for state. But I don't think we were playing in state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rhett, this is your first year at LCU. How are you enjoying it so far?
So far, it's been really good. Really, what I love is mostly the people. Without the people, I tend to not have the greatest time. But as far as a community, and I feel like we're all striving towards the same goal, as a team. And it's been really good just to be surrounded by a lot of good people, which has been really good for me.
Awesome. Where were you at before this?
I was at Midland. I guess go back to high school. Was committed to UNM at a high school. Okay. And yes, which I I was going for Birmingham at the time. It was
Okay.
the only reason why I was wanting to go. And I was young and dumb, and ended up having a really, really good summer. And had some schools talk to me, and UNM reached out, went on an official visit, and this was when I was a sophomore. And then junior year went on a visit, and then committed right there. And then committed, kind of have that off my chest, feel good. And then towards the kind of middle of my senior year, COVID happened. Um, Everything was kind of just going to crap over there, and he's like, "Look, I don't have any money for you. I mean, you can walk on, but I wasn't gonna walk on at UNM.
Hmm.
So, big time. Whether it like my junior year, junior summer, that's a big recruiting process as far as trying to go somewhere. And I did all that committed, so I had really no one else. And talked to Utah Valley. That was really about the only one, and thought about it, and really just it was just hard for me to leave Texas, honestly. So ended up going to Midland, which was the last place I thought I'd ever end up. And God knew what He was doing in that. Met some great people. Became a better ball player with what that place did for me. So it was a super cool experience.
How far is Midland JUCO like from your house?
It was about 8 minutes.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh
Yep.
wow, down the road, huh?
So you're able to live at home.
Yeah, and I lived in the dorms because I was ready to get out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was good because anytime, it's crazy, even at Midland, I felt a little homesick, which is
Mhm.
probably so weird for y'all to hear. But it was nice to just be able to go to my house when I was feeling that way, and
Yeah,
have
home
dinner,
cooked meal.
have home
man.
cooked
Are you
meals.
kidding me?
The thing that I miss the most.
Oh,
is the
yeah.
home cooked
Oh,
meals.
Yes, so it was definitely the right thing,
Come on in, man.
right thing for me to do. So
That's awesome. So you were at Midland for how long?
2 years.
2 years. How'd that go? How were those seasons?
Really good. Freshman year, had a really good fall, and then to start the spring, rolled my ankle pretty bad. Ended up having to get surgery on it that summer.
Oh wow.
wow.
And
What exactly did you mess up in there?
so with football, I mean, both ankles are just ruined.
Okay.
And then I did it really, really bad. And what was crazy is I was jogging in the outfield. That's all I was doing was just jogging. Bad look. And rolled it, was out for a while, came back struggling. And, I didn't really have a spot at this time. Everyone was doing super good, and it was as far as like a growing experience, really helped me grow not only in my faith but as a baseball player. To fight back and get that position back. So ended the freshman year really well, and then sophomore year had a really good year.
Awesome. How did you end up getting here? Like, did Jay reach out to you? Like, how that happened?
It was actually Walker.
Walker.
He came down.
Scotty boy.
Yeah, he came down last year and watched, and then asked to go on a visit. I came here, and it just felt right, dude. I always wanted to end up, pretty close, and I always thought like tech would be super cool. And then as word of mouth things, I knew that kind of wasn't the place for me, and then came here, and everything just seemed right. So
Um, so you guys, I remember you texting the group chat about like Bible study, stuff like that. You guys do that together?
yes.
So if you guys want to talk about that at all, like what do you guys do?
How'd that start?
How'd that start? Everything about that. If y'all want to talk about that, because we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, I'd love to. So basically at Midland, we had a guy named Jarek Wells, and he's playing at Houston Christian right now. And I mean, the most knowledgeable, good. It was crazy to see a guy in college like this, as far as knowledge in his word and experiences. And I grew up in a Christian school, was kind of spoon fed the word and things like that. Got on my own a little bit and realized that my foundation was just not where it needed to be. So we had these Bible studies at Midland, and I noticed that it made us a better team. You know, as I was saying earlier, we're kind of striving towards the same goal. Well, the ultimate main goal is, spending eternity with Jesus. And So me and my roommate, he actually plays at Tech, wanted to continue that. Just it's good to surround yourselves with people who are are striving in that direction. So yeah, we started, and we got a lot of Tech guys. Really, me and Brevin, us and Jake are really the most, like most consistent on that. But yeah, dude, it's been super cool. And Brevin, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, I think it's been a big blessing for me to get plugged into that. Was very grateful early in the fall. I kind of made a relationship with Rhett. Didn't really know him before, and he invited me to Bible study, and so I go over there, and we have 6, 8 guys the first time, and it was great. I mean, it was him and his roommate that pitches at Tech, and it was very refreshing to me because honestly, even being here for 2 years before that, like I hadn't really, even though being in Christian school, I hadn't been around people that really were super knowledgeable or put a whole lot of time into or thought into, being in the Word and thinking thinking about those things. And so I think being here my first 2 years, I grew closer to God in some ways, but further in other ways.
Yeah.
And I think being a part of this Bible study, just having a group of guys that really comes together over a common goal and having guys that are interested in having that relationship with Christ and stuff, I think has been really, really good for me. And we've grown it now, and we had a few Tech guys in the fall, but now that we're in the spring, it's his roommate's really good about talking to people and getting people to come, and as he likes to say, just put rocks in their shoe about just keep dropping little bombs about the Bible and Bible study and all this stuff, and eventually started getting more people coming. So now any given week we could have up to 25. I think we've had
Oh,
wow.
8 people
Yeah, I think it's
Wow.
20.
that's
That's
like
awesome.
in their living room before. So
That's
we're
awesome. That's cool.
sitting on the floor, pulling up kitchen chairs to the living room.
Oh,
Like
wow.
we've
Where do y'all
we've
do it?
at Rhett's
Just
house.
at the
At your
house.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We've had a really good group several times, and now that baseball season's going, every now and then who's there from week to week is different, but we still 15 to 20 people a week, and we'll be up to, like I said, 28 guys in there.
Absolutely.
wow.
It's really cool to be around a group of guys that's that big and cares that much about
Yeah, that's
relationship
awesome.
with God, because I think I fell away from it for a while, and now being around these guys, it makes me want to strive to be better in that way.
That's awesome. When do you, like what days do you guys usually do it?
It's Wednesday. So
Wednesday?
pretty much every Wednesday, and it's hard 'cause sometimes like Tech played on Wednesday last week,
Yeah.
and we do what we can. It's a good reminder we all fall short, and I'm first one to tell you, no matter how much, faith, knowledgeable faith that puts into me, I always have my times where I kind of go away from the Lord, but what's cool is he's always waiting there for me.
Yeah.
So that's what's good about that Bible study too, is it's always just a really good reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To me, like it gets said a lot, like in that room in the Bible study, but it is we all just kind of say like, man, I can just tell that I haven't been as good. Like we haven't had Bible study in a couple weeks. I can just feel it.
Yeah.
Like you just feel different. Whenever we're every week being able to have Bible study, have those conversations, and we're good on our own, like being in the Word and stuff. Like I feel like your life just feels different. Like to me, it's just
Okay.
I've been that way lately. Like we haven't with text schedule, haven't been able to have Bible study in a couple weeks, and honestly, last week I wasn't as good as I had been, and I can feel it. Like I'm ready to get back with those guys again. And start.
Yeah, you can feel like a change
Yeah,
almost, and
it's
from
just
week to week.
a change, and I don't even know how to describe it. Like you just feel it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
No,
Kinda-
that's awesome.
Kind of
That's
weird,
awesome.
but we all notice it. Really, the guys that go to Bible study. It's a really cool feeling.
Yeah.
I know you both. I mean, you just touched on it. Rez touched on it a little bit. Like the way that you guys have felt after doing your guys' Bible studies, and like, could you say that's helped you, through your like baseball career, just in your journey? Just you talked about it, just getting injured, rolling your ankle, having those tough times, and having Christ with you along those. Like
Oh
how
yeah. I think it really comes down to where your foundation is at. If your foundation is in baseball or your girlfriend or your school, man, you're going to get let down so many times, especially in this game. And I found the hard way when my freshman year, when I did hurt my ankle, baseball was taken away from me. I was like, well, crap, like what do I do now?
Yeah.
Um, and dude, it brings so much peace in mind to go out on the field and say this game does not define who I am. And not only does it give you peace, but it puts a ton of pressure. I feel like, dude, this is just a game, you know. Uh, win or lose, good or bad, Lord, you take the glory, and just that feeling of the Holy Spirit, I feel like it makes me a better baseball player because I don't think any of us play good when we're super tensed up and have that pressure on us. So
I think for me, one of the big things that it's helped me be better about is kind of like what Rhett said, just taking the pressure off and dealing with failure in a better way. Because I've like in the past, I've been known to be kind of a hothead. Like I would throw my gloves, I'd throw my helmet, and I've started to notice now that, and even like last season, like I wasn't a big like gear thrower or anything, but I'd throw the batting glove from time to time or be upset when I go back on the field after a bad at bat, like that sort of thing. And this year I've been able to kind of let go of that. And I feel like in the last couple of weeks, like I said, we haven't had Bible study. While I haven't been as good on my own, I've noticed that things are starting to make me angry again.
Yeah.
And like this weekend we played Regis, like I got upset after at bat, like I threw my helmet. I was like super embarrassed and super upset after that moment because like that's not who I am. And this year that's like been one of my big things is I'm going to change that about myself.
Yeah.
And so it really kind of made me self-reflect and say, look, I've got to be better in my foundation, like Rhett's saying, and build that back up because I've been a lot better at trying to help other people deal with failure in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And basically, if I had a bad day at the field, am I really going to go home and be upset that I sucked at hitting a little wet ball with my metal stick? Like when you say it that way, it just there's no reason to take those things
Yeah,
out
there's
of the
bigger
locker
things.
room because there's a lot bigger things. Like it's a stupid game to play.
Yeah, exactly.
And it puts it all in perspective to me. And when I'm in my word and when I'm hanging out with those guys and doing Bible studies, it's a lot easier to just remember that, oh, dude, like, chill out, be a nice person, help other people. It's just
there's a lot more important things than to get mad at a game.
I agree.
We talked about your med stuff, pre-med stuff. What's your major actually?
So I'm in business right now.
Okay.
Really still trying to work on what I want to do with it.
Yeah.
I actually spray weeds for a landscape company back in Midland.
Okay.
And I do like the landscape, that kind of work. Still something I'm praying about, dude. Right now I don't really know what God's got in store for me.
Yeah.
The girl I'm dating, which if it's in God's will, hopefully, I end up with her. She wants to be a PA,
Okay.
which could, take her to places that landscape wouldn't probably be good at. So, I don't know, man. I'm still praying about it, and that's another great thing about having the Lord. It's like, God, I'm going to give this to you. I'll let you handle it. So,
He's got the path for everyone.
mm-hmm.
When it comes to like your medical stuff, all the schoolwork, 'cause obviously a lot of your classes, I've heard you talk about your classes, sound very difficult. When it comes to like the medical stuff, does being an athlete, like being an athlete for so long, being around sports for so long, being a part of a team, has that helped at all with stuff like that?
I think it has because I feel like a lot of the ways that I've learned to cope with failures in baseball and stuff like kind of applies to the classroom. Like, am I really gonna go home and be upset that I didn't memorize this stuff good enough? Like at the end of the day, like what does that really matter? Like somebody made this all up in the first place anyway, and so it kind of makes it easier in that way to me, just to go to class and enjoy myself, make relationships with my professors. That's one of the other things I really like about LCU is it's a small enough environment that I'm able to actually know like who my professors are. Like, how many kids they have, like what their kids do, like what they like to do in their free time. Like it's I think it makes it a lot easier to learn when you know the people that you're learning from.
Yeah,
there's definitely a different dynamic here. I feel like just at LCU.
Yeah,
just being
like I said, I don't know what it's like anywhere else. I haven't been in any other schools, but I'm grateful that I came here because I've had that experience. I don't think I would have had that.
I feel like it's a lot different here. Like I feel like I'm actually able to develop a personal relationship with professors where not even at my JUCO's kind of, but it was mainly online. But like I feel like at other places, like obviously this is a pretty small population at a school, where most classes in like other big universities are 60, 70, 80 people in the class.
Yeah.
Where you're not able to develop that personal relationship with people. Where at LCU, I feel like I'm able to develop a relationship with all my professors.
Yeah.
Which actually is a big help on in the class, out of the classroom. I feel like that's huge.
Yeah, and I would say like these last probably 2 semesters for me, they've been pretty tough because taking harder classes, getting to the upper level stuff, getting ready to ramp up for med school, and so I think it's given me a good glimpse, and I think it'll help me later on, just like work-life balance.
Yeah.
So like if I take my school as my work and baseball as the life, like I've really had to find a way to mesh the two of them and be able to put enough time to my schoolwork to where I do well and keep my grades up. That way I can hopefully get into medical school, but at the same time, do the thing that I love, like come here to the baseball field and hang out with the guys and, put work into that as well. And, knowing when to back off of one or the other. Like if I'm just slammed with schoolwork this week, I'm not feeling great about it. Take a day off of school. Like don't do homework. Come up here to the field, hit some baseballs, go home. Like just I think finding ways to alleviate the stress on either end to make them both enjoyable has been one of the better things, and what I would say is positive of the degree plan that I'm on.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Did you always know, like when you were in high school, that you wanted to do this?
Yes, I would probably say growing up, like if you asked me what I want to do, I'd say I want to do that.
Yeah.
But so my mom actually, he says girlfriend wants to be a PA. My mom's actually a PA. And
wow.
so I grew up kind of around the medical field. She does orthopedics, bones and muscles, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I kind of grew up around it. So it's really one of the only things I've ever known, to be honest. And so at this point, I think by now I would have changed my mind if that's not what I actually wanted to do. But the further I go, the more interested in it I get. So I feel like I'm on the right path, and I honestly do think for the most part, this is all I really ever wanted to do, which is kind of cool.
What exact specialization are you aiming for? Do you have one in mind?
No, I've always been interested in orthopedics. Grew up around it, playing sports. That's pretty cliche for people that go into the medical field. But the way medical school works, so your first 2 years is just classroom stuff, and then years 3 and 4, you actually get into the hospital, go work with doctors, stuff like that. And so that's usually when you choose what specialty you want to go into.
Right.
So you get an idea of observing, being around doctors the first 2 years, and then your third year you kind of start honing in. You go on rotations and say, oh, I don't really like this one, or ooh, I was really interested in that thing. And so you kind of start zoning in, and then by your 4th year, you know what you're going into. So you start trying to build your relationships in that area, and that sort of thing to set you up better when you actually start trying to get a job later on.
All right. Rhett. So you've been playing baseball, I would assume, your whole life, right? Did you have? Because we don't really talk about this much. Did you have any dream schools when you were in high school? Because I know when I was younger, I always wanted to go to like Fullerton, Pepperdine, stuff like that. Did you have any places that you wanted to go to?
Actually, when I was a kid, so baseball and football, that's what I played. And I grew up really enjoying football more than I did baseball. And it wasn't until I got to high school and realized I don't think I got, I ain't big enough, I ain't fast enough to go play somewhere. And then really once I was really honed in baseball, Tech was my number one.
Okay.
And honestly, dude, I didn't just have that one school. It was I have to go here. It was literally just we'll just kind of see what happens. But Tech, if you would have asked me, it's been yeah, probably Tech is about the only one I'd really, really want to go to. But yeah, not just super. I don't do growing up playing baseball. I just played I didn't know anyone on big college teams, MLB teams. I just enjoyed playing. And wanted to continue that. Didn't really know where I was going to end up there at the end. So.
Yeah. What about you?
I have a question for Rhett. How many home runs did you have your 8th grade year?
6th grade year.
How many home runs did you have your 6th grade year?
So I actually had 30 home runs 6th grade year. It wasn't Little League, small fields. But
30?
yes, I had 30 my 6th grade. It's pretty crazy. I was actually
Balls on those. What am I doing right
Bro, I
here?
had like 3 in Little League. I thought I was cool.
Let's go.
and I actually used to be a good pitcher before the elbow gave out. But yep, it was. I will say, I mean, I hit puberty pretty quick growing up, so it didn't. We had those orange Makos. I don't know if y'all remember those. Those
Oh, yeah.
bats were
Oh, yeah.
crazy. So, but yes, I did have 30.
Dude, you should have got drafted out of 6th grade, bro.
Dude,
Like, 30
if they were watching,
crazy.
that was my prime, man.
I
If
think
they were
I
just
think
watching.
that's probably double what I had, like ever, like growing up, like through high school ever. Like I don't know that I even had 15 like after my senior year of high school. I mean, Rhett
Well,
was
what's crazy is I went to high school and I really was not a home run hitter.
Yeah.
And still like really, I mean, every now and then, really not. But yeah, dude, if I had scouts watching me in Little League, then I would have been set.
You're on the draft board since
That
6th grade.
that was my
You hit a
prime.
first rounder.
I know
That's
that was my
crazy.
prime.
How many bombs you hit at Midland?
Freshman year I had 5, and last year I had 10.
15 between the 2 years. That's pretty good.
Mhm.
Not 30.
Not 30.
Not 30.
bro.
I needed that
That's-
Mako, is what I needed.
Mako, 6th grade Rhett at Midland would have went crazy. He
Yep.
had 40 home runs at Midland.
Yep.
We asked you two, did you have like a dream school growing up?
Kind of like Rhett. I mean, like, I feel like as a kid when you're watching baseball and you're watching the College World Series, like you're seeing the SEC school teams, like they're going. You're seeing Vandy, Florida, like you know what I mean. You're watching all these big schools. Like I guess if you were to say like, yeah, I'd want to go to like Vandy. Like Vandy would be cool,
Mhm.
but in all reality, like there's dreams and there's also like reality. we're not making it to Vandy. So no, I mean just about that. I mean then we were like, all right, let's go to junior college.
I mean, hey, JUCO's always
JUCO's sick.
JUCO's always
People
a good
people
route.
hate on it a little bit, but
So
don't know,
did
man.
you guys really enjoy JUCO?
I love junior college. I love
I
junior
did too.
college.
And really everyone I talked to is like, I absolutely loved JUCO.
Everybody that hates on it is people that didn't go.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I being someone that didn't go to JUCO, I really wish that I had. So one of my other options out of high school, I could have gone to MJC, in the hometown. Had a really good relationship with the coaching staff there, and I really wish I was able to make it happen. The reason I wasn't able to is I had too many dual credit hours from high school. So basically, there wasn't enough classes there. There was
too smart to go to JUCO.
So all of our dual credit was through New Mexico Junior College.
Right.
And so with the courses that I had taken in high school, I wouldn't have been able to piece together enough stuff to make more than 1 year. And so
Yeah.
I could have had like one semester of like 12 hours and then a half-time semester in the spring with like 6 hours. And they could have made it work, but it just didn't really make sense in the long run to do that. And so that's the reason I didn't go there. But I really wish I had, because I mean, like y'all said, everyone that I've talked to that went to JUCO, like they loved it,
Yeah.
had a good experience, and I think it would have benefited me a lot, just as a baseball player, as a person.
Yeah, I think the main thing about JUCO is like obviously it's an absolute like there's no limits on practices. You have the 7-hour practices, the 5 a.m. way, like stuff like that. Like obviously like the grind was sometimes an absolute struggle. Like there was times where I was like, this is terrible, but it's the relationships you develop while during that grind, stuff like that kind of makes JUCO so much different. Like obviously here I've developed really amazing relationships here, like people that I think I'll be talking to when I'm gone, people that I think will be in my wedding in the future, whatever that is, stuff like that. But in JUCO it's just so much different because we talked about this on previous podcasts about the conditioning, the punishments, like stuff like that. That's not stuff that happens at universities compared to where at a JUCO. It's like that's insane. Like I haven't really talked to you about it, but people who haven't gone to JUCO, and I tell them like, yeah, we have to run a 6-minute mile every Tuesday at 5 a.m. They're like, you're insane.
Yeah.
Like, why would you ever do that? How was Midland when it comes to like the conditioning? Did you guys ever do anything crazy, stuff like that?
Never a 6-minute mile. No. That's actually crazy. But dude, we were kind of spoiled over there, to be honest. I mean, like they would give us pretty much Mondays off. It was really the relationships, and everyone just living together pretty much. I guess all you guys lived in the dorms and stuff. But we had in our off season we did CrossFit. You can talk to Jesse and Gibby, and dude, it was a real deal. It was fun, but it was really 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 hard. And that's why he's huge.
I feel like all the guys that went to Midland coming out of that CrossFit stuff, like all the guys we get from Midland are just jacked. Like in general, like Rhett's jacked, Jesse jacked, Gibby big but jacked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all these guys,
Big but
like
jacked.
I could definitely see them as being CrossFit guys.
Yeah.
I would have liked to know if they were always that way, or if Midland just
Midland turned
changes.
them into
If
that.
Midland just changes people in
Yeah.
that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we also, I don't know if y'all have ever been to Midland, but there's a shed, which is where we would normally work out, and no air conditioning, no heater, no nothing,
Oh yeah.
and just dirt and barbells, and I loved it. I think everyone loves it. Yeah.
That's part of the grind.
Oh yeah,
That's
and I
like
think all of
That's
us.
like definitely.
Yeah,
Think of
that's the
JUCO.
definition.
That's JUCO right there.
Yes.
I mean, testosterone just through the roof.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
Pre-workout, and dude, it was a ton of fun, but which was another reason why I loved that place. But
Oh, that's awesome.
I actually have a question for y'all too. So us being 2021 grads, we had an interesting experience because COVID kind of messed with the recruiting process. So, but what was it like for you guys being, in college, like when that happened? Like, what was that like just coming into college or being in college and then COVID happening?
Go for it, man.
Well, okay. I remember being in like the car, in Lamar, getting the text message saying, "Our season's banked. Like we're not playing anymore." That was like heartbreaking. Of course, like we had a lot of talent. We thought we were gonna be really good. We weren't really having the year that we were supposed to already. I think I don't know. We were a little bit less than 500, something like 9-12, something like that. But kind of struggling, whatever. Kind of like how it did with you as well. Like it hurt the recruiting process for me in terms of like where I wanted to go that following year because I came back to junior college the year after COVID, but then when I was gonna go to talking to several Division I schools or whatever, those guys are like, hey, again, these guys have their COVID year. We're bringing all these guys back where we don't have money left, and we just have walk-on spots or stuff like that. So that kind of affected my decision in that way. So that's why I ended up at Arkansas Pine Bluff. They were able to give me a good chunk of money, and that's kind of where I ended up. But it definitely did hurt the recruiting process for me as well.
No, it's honestly the same. Like that's exactly how it was for me too. But the way I found out was when I was at my first JUCO called College of the Canyons. It's in California, like 45 minutes away from home. We were in the locker room, and my coach comes in and tells us, and it was just like, it was so weird because obviously nothing like that's ever happened before. Like my season's never just been canceled in the middle before. Like it was just a weird year, and a weird year after, like just a weird time from then and after until now, obviously. But like it's like the same, like the recruiting process after, because a bunch of people, and that's when you got the fifth year guys, like all the money's gone now. So like it was definitely hard on the recruiting process, like, but that was for anyone, whether of high school or JUCO.
It was kind of weird too because I remember getting told like when it first all happened, it was like, hey, you guys are gonna go home for a week or two, and then we might be back. Like it might not be as serious as as everybody's saying it is.
Yeah, that was literally exactly how.
So it was
how
really
went for
weird.
us. Yeah.
Everybody's like, it was hard, man, because like
Yeah.
everybody went home and you thought you were gonna see your guys again, man. Like everybody thought, okay, I'm gonna see this guy again, and they went home and we never saw them again. So it sucked because like we didn't get to say bye to some of those guys that we had met, and we spent the whole entire fall every day together, every day in the spring up until that point. Like that sucked, definitely for sure.
That's actually crazy. Like I've thought about that, but thinking about that now, like because I graduated a year before you. I was 2018, you were 2019. I spent a year and a half with some of those guys, and out of nowhere, like
Gone.
you're gone, you're going home. Like I wasn't even able to say bye to any of them. Like it was definitely a drastic change, and honestly, but the thing is like without that happening, I probably wouldn't have ended up here.
Yeah.
Which is
No, 100%.
crazy to think about. Like
100%.
like if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have gone to Mesa. I wouldn't have gone to Kansas in the summer, and then I wouldn't have gotten in contact with Jay. Like none of that would have happened. So it's just crazy the way things fall in line,
And now we're all here.
now we're all here having a podcast together, which is pretty sick. Um,
Actually, speaking of COVID years, my first year here was really an interesting dynamic because we had guys that were stacked up here with, med reds, COVID year, like all that kind of stuff. And so I remember this vividly. So I didn't play my freshman year for about 2/3 of the year. Started playing in the outfield towards the end and had played a couple series, but we were at UT Tyler and started Friday night in left field, and then Saturday game one, I'm starting in right. So I'm in right game one. It's just a Chamber of Commerce day, 95, humid, no wind. Just we're all sweating our butts off and having a great time out there. Just classic baseball. And so I'm standing out there like, man, it's a beautiful day today. And I look to my right at our center fielder, and it just hit me. So our center fielder's name is Larry Letha. And I think at that time he was 25 years old. So he was a freshman at New Mexico Junior College, and I used to go in and hit in the indoor. I used to go hit with him when I was in 7th grade. And
This guy's a freshman in college.
yeah. When Larry was a freshman at New
Wow.
Mexico Junior College, I was in 7th grade, and I used to go hit with him.
Wow.
And then it just hit me when we were at UT Tyler. Like, I'm playing college baseball with the guy that I used to think was so cool because he played college baseball when I was in 7th grade. Like
now you're on the same team.
Exactly. And like that year, like half of our starting lineup was like 24 and older. So like we had a 26-year-old catcher, 25-year-old center fielder. Third baseman was 24.
Wow. I was literally about to say, I thought we were old.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like that year with the COVID stuff and med reds, like it was wild because I was 19 and I was the youngest on the field by far.
Wow.
Like I think Ogilvy and Hensley, both of them were there that year, and they were both 21. But other than that, I was like by far the baby, and
Yeah.
everybody else, all our starting pitchers were like 22 plus. Most of them 23, 24, and most of our starting lineup, like I said, our center fielder was 25. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy, and it just like hit me all of a sudden that day in Tyler. Like I'll never forget just looking to my right, being like, "Holy cow!" I used to go hit with this guy when I was a 7th grader.
That's insane to think about. Because, like, I see freshmen now, like, because I'm 23. I look at these 18-year-olds coming in, it makes me feel old.
Yeah, like
I
I
could,
played
like,
I played varsity baseball when I was a freshman, and I was like, "Dang, this age gap's crazy."
Mhm.
But like that was 3 years, dude. So like I
Yeah.
was playing college baseball with guys that are 6, 7 years older than me.
Yeah.
Like,
you got the gap in high school was crazy.
And then you got to LCU and you're playing with dudes 7 years older than you.
Yeah.
That's insane to think about.
wild.
Well, it's just like,
Well, it's hard, man. And you're a freshman, and you're as a freshman coming into a school, you're like, oh, I want to get there and compete. Like I want to get there and play. And you're like,
you got these old men.
yeah, I got grown men playing in front of me, and it's hard, and mentally, physically, like.
Well, that's like, imagine MLB stuff. Like when you got
Yeah.
these 21-year-olds playing with 38-year-olds. Like
You got Ethan Salas.
Ethan's
out,
16 or
Padre. He's
17?
like 17 years old playing in the.
playing in
Yeah, that's
spring
crazy.
training with
That's
these.
crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, could you imagine being even the 24, 25-year-old and you're playing with a 37, 36, like a you're us, and
exactly.
then you're on the same pitching staff as like a Verlander. Like,
Mhm.
that would be crazy. Like, we think 5 years.
Yeah.
Imagine a dude who's 10 years older than you and you're on the same team with him. Like,
It's
that's.
possible to have 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
You could
is.
be 20 years old coming to the MLB and you're playing with Verlander.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
That's
Dude has literally spent your entire life, like as much time as you've lived, he spent that in the bigs. Like that's crazy.
I remember like seeing something on, I don't know if it was Twitter or Instagram, something like that, where it was like this kid was like 4 years old and he remembers watching him in college or on TV, and the next thing you know, I forgot exactly who it was, but then they were teammates on an MLB team. It's like, that is just insane to think about, like that stuff that can happen.
And like Griffey playing on the same team with his dad.
As his
Like,
dad, that's so sick.
That's wild.
Yeah, Cal Ripken, stuff like that. Well, I want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you, Duran. Thank you, Rhett. Thank you, Brevin. And thank you all for watching at home. That was episode 7 of The Algorithm.